I used to be really, really shy around women, and the reason is because I grew up in the Middle East, where the overwhelming majority of the people are Muslim, and in the particular country that I grew up in, Qatar, especially at the time, it was very conservative. My family was very conservative. The society itself is very conservative and still is, but it's changing now. The younger generation is thankfully um, not going along with the program. So, anyway, that's for another topic. Um, so, I moved to Canada when I was 12, 13, and I really developed a complex around women. Like, I mean, I would just be sweating and I would just didn't know what to say because it was basically forbidden to interact with the opposite sex in where I grew up, save for your your mom, your sister, even your cousins. After maybe you reach 7, 8, or something, and you start to get a little older, you're separated completely from them. So I was very, very nervous when I came to Canada, and that continued with me until like pretty much like my mid 20s, like 23, 24. That's when I finally overcame that. So I do want to help you with this. Of course, not only am I no longer that, I don't need to be anyway because I've got my woman with me. So I don't, for me now it's just I've got my woman. So it's not like something I need anyway, but I got my woman because I one of the reasons is because I overcame that. And if you feel like shy, you feel really shy, then it's a good idea to overcome that. So I do want to give you 3 different tips here that have definitely helped me. Tip number 1 is retain your seat. Right off the bat, don't tease your weasel. Don't, you know, grease the pipe. Just keep it in your pants, okay? Okay, just do that, and that alone is going to decrease your anxiety around women. And for God's sake, if you're still teasing your weasel, do not do it to pornography. Don't do it. Just at least, at the very least, if you're doing that, do it to your imagination, and eventually just wean off of that altogether. Okay? That's going to help you, by the way, with tip number 2 and tip number 3, and you'll see why. But that's going to help you. I mean, physically speaking, retaining that is going to decrease your anxiety in general, and by extension, it's going to decrease your anxiety around women. Stop teasing the weasel, okay? Stop teasing the weasel so that maybe someone else can do it for you, okay? So, that's number 1. Tip number 2 is humanize the female species. We all have our reasons why we are shy around women. We have different reasons, okay? Mine happens to be just being born and raised in an ultra religious environment that, for some stupid reason, doesn't like women, really. Really, it's got a big problem with women in general. So, and dehumanizes them. So, what I'm telling you to do here is humanize them. Because for some, the reason why they're shy is because there is this like idea of a woman as this like absolutely like angelic, perfect being that doesn't fart, that doesn't shit, that doesn't is not a human altogether. It's just an etheric, angelic being that just smells like roses all the time, and looks like looks like absolute, like, perfection 24/7. Wakes up with perfect makeup. Like, that's, so for some of us we're shy because of that. So in any case, you want to humanize them. I mean, just look at this, look at the female species as your fellow human. Just happens to be different, okay? Just happens to have a different type of genital and different distribution of hormones, causing visible and psychological differences. And just see them as fellow humans that are also mortal, that are going to get old, get wrinkles, and die altogether. Okay, although I know, well, I do want to talk about immortality and stuff. So, but I'm saying in general, right? Just think of them as these mortal beings, just like you, these human beings with fierce hopes, dreams, aspirations, and everything in between. Uh, they poo poo, they fart, um, they wake up with a bad smell in their breath, uh, they have insecurities, and just look at them as that, just like you, just a human, but just happens to be different, happens to be, more of a carrier of the feminine energy, and you're more of a carrier of the masculine energy. And just see it as that. That's it. Humanize them, and that is going to help you tremendously. Now, if you follow tip number one, you retained your seed and you stopped teasing your weasel and you just like stopped watching porn, then naturally that's gonna happen. Because if you always tease your weasel and you especially do it to porn, or you just kind of, what you're doing is you're training yourself to also like just see a woman as, so the other side of the equation is seeing women as just like sex objects, right? That's the other side of the equation. And you certainly don't want to do that neither. Okay? You want to just see them as a human, like just as a human. So that's going to calm you down around them, and it's going to make you naturally less shy, but also just apply this intellectually. Like just be like, "Oh wow." Like look, I want you to look at like an old lady and be like, cuz most of us, we feel, doesn't matter even if we're shy around women, we feel pretty comfortable around old ladies. We don't, they're just old ladies. Uh, just look at an old lady and just imagine her like in the younger days. Let's say she was like, oh, this beautiful lady, she turned everyone's attention, she turned everyone's head, you know and just realize, wow, now she's old, now she's just a human. And just imagine, I remember, that happened to me, that moment happened to me one time, like many years ago, where I looked around and I was in university, and I just for an instant of a second, I imagined everybody around me old, right? I was on a considerable dose of LSD, so and it just, in that moment, I had this inner standing. Wow, everybody's just a human. They're all gonna get old and wrinkly, and they're gonna die, and they all have problems, and they all have dreams. And I was just like, wow. And I looked at all the girls around, and I was like, wow, they're just humans like me, just built a little differently, but they're just humans like me. So humanize them, okay? Humanize them. That would be tip number two. Tip number three is befriend them. Just befriend them. Be good friends with them. But don't mistake this for just, forgetting your roles as masculine and feminine, as man and woman. Just befriend them. Like, you don't want, so that's another thing why tip number one helps. Like, when you're just like, you stop looking at women as sex objects. You stop dehumanizing them. You just humanize them. Like, what happens is, when you're around, like, let's say a woman that you're interested in a way that you might want to be her partner, you might want to be intimate with her, but instead of like, like feeling anxious or too excited around her, or like looking at her and be like, wow, you just see her as a sex object, you just like befriend her in the beginning. You're just like, wow, all right, I want to get to know this human, and I want to see if this human is compatible with me. So befriend them first. Don't just befriend them. Be a friend. Be a good friend in the beginning, okay? And if you feel there is resonance, and if you feel there is more than that from both ends, and you feel, wow, we're pretty compatible, and wow, I would like to be intimate with her, and she seems like she would like to be intimate with me, so I will ask her and see if she wants to be intimate with me. And if that's the case, then yeah, then maybe you could take things a little further than that. But in the beginning, don't want anything from her. Just don't want any, and in fact, you want to do that the whole time. Love is about wanting the other to be happy. Is about wanting the other to be satisfied in life, to be content. It's not about needing something from someone, and if they don't give it to you, you don't love them no more. So just befriend them, okay? Befriend them. Just be good friends with them, and if you feel like things should go further than that, then you assess the situation and you act from that, okay? So there we go. 3 tips. Hopefully it helps. Certainly helped me. Okay, in the many years that I tried and successfully finally overcame that shyness, and yeah, and when I did that, eventually I met my woman. I met my match. Okay, so there you go. Hopefully that helps you guys, and yeah, thank you for watching. If you have an urge to donate to this channel, especially in the time right now, I am in need. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I would really highly appreciate it. There's a link down below in the description. Otherwise, you don't have to do that. Just keep watching the videos, and yeah. Also, one-on-one consultations if you're interested to book a call to talk about anything that you find of particular value that you want to discuss. Link in the description, and I see you guys in the next video. Mwah.